Exercise 5.2. The following information relates to Sophia stores for May 2025. Required. 5.2.1. Explain why it is important to set up a bank reconciliation statement every month. 5.2.2. Calculate the totals for the cash receipts and cash payments journals for May 2025. 5.2.3. Draw up the bank account in the general ledger to calculate the balance of the bank account on 31 May 2025. And 5.2.4, draw up the bank reconciliation statement on 31 May 2025. Information 1. On 1 May 2025, the bank account shows an overdrawn balance of R21,200. 2. On 31 May 2025, before the bank statement was received from the bank, the cash journal showed the following preliminary totals: cash receipts journal R38,500 and cash payments journal R29,100. 3. On 31 May 2025, an electronic bank statement was drawn from ABSA. This statement showed an unfavorable balance of R8,770. And then 4. Upon closer inspection, the following items are found which appear on the bank statement but not in the cash journals, as well as errors and omissions made on the bank statement. I will then read carefully through A up to M as we complete the question. 5.2.1. Explain why it is important to set up a bank reconciliation statement every month. This is an internal control measure to find mistakes and omissions and to ensure that corruption does not take place and that mistakes are corrected. 5.2.2. Calculate the totals for the cash receipts and the cash payments journal for May 2025. So obviously we'll first enter the preliminary totals for our cash receipts journal, which is R38,500, and for our cash payments journal, R29,100. So if we go back to information 4A, a debit order for the insurance of the owner's private vehicle, R4,700. That must go back to our cash payments journal because it wasn't entered. So remember, for private use, it will always be drawings, R4,700. B. A direct deposit made by a debtor whose account was previously written off as irrecoverable, R6,000. So that goes to our cash receipts journal as bad debts recovered, R6,000. C. An amount of R12,000 was paid directly into the business's bank account relating to rental income. So it's an income that we received that goes to the cash receipts journal. It's rental income, R12,000. D. The bank charged banking fees of R1,800 as well as interest on overdraft of R950. So that'll go to your cash payments journal. Our bank charges R1,800 and then our interest on our overdraft as R950. E. The bank statement shows a deposit relating to debtors' control of R24,000. The amount appears in the cash receipts journal as R2,400. The bank statement is correct. So we first need to calculate the difference. 24,000 minus 2,400 gives you R21,600, and that must be added back to the cash receipts journal. So we are going to write debtors control, R21,600. F. EFT 907 pertaining to wages was loaded on the bank. The correct amount of the EFT appears in the bank statement as R8,500. However, it was incorrectly recorded in the cash payments journal as R5,800. So the difference of R8,500 minus R5,800 is R2,700. So that amount we must still pay in the cash payments journal. So we're going to have wages, 8,500 minus 5,800 to give you 2,700 rand. G. EFT 912 pertaining to stationery appears correctly on the bank statement as 920 rand. but was incorrectly recorded in the cash payments journal as 9,200 Rand. So in other words, we paid too much. 9,200 minus 920 gives you 8,280 Rand. So that must go and be added back because we paid too much. So we go to the cash receipts journal, we write stationery, and we write 8,280 Rand. So our correct totals will then be for our cash receipts journal, 86,380 Rand, and for our cash payments journal, 39,250 Rand. 5.2.3, we have to draw up the bank account in the general ledger to calculate the balance on 31 May 2025. So our opening balance on May the 1st is on the credit side. If we go to information 1, the bank account shows an overdrawn balance of 21,200 Rand. That is why it goes on the credit side. Then on the credit side, we're going to enter our sundry accounts from our cash payments journal, which is 39,250. And on the debit side, at the end of the month, sundry accounts, cash receipts journal, 86,380. Then we are going to balance the bank accounts. So the debit side equals 86,380. We make it equal to the credit side, which is then also 86,380. So our balance that we carry down or carry over is 25,950 Rand. So that is our balance for the next month, June the 1st, on the debit side, 25,950 Rand, and that is the amount that we take to the bank reconciliation statement. 5.2.4, the bank reconciliation statement on 31 May 2025. Remember, the first thing that you need to familiarize yourself with is your format. So it will be whatever balance according to the bank statement, any outstanding deposits that we're going to credit, any outstanding EFTs that we are going to debit, and then any errors. In this case, there was a credit wrong debit order, there was a credit deposit wrongly debited, and there was a credit wrong EFT 123. And then our debit balance according to the bank account, which we've just calculated, is 25,950 Rand. Information 3 states that the bank statement showed an unfavorable balance of 8,770 Rand. So it's going to go on the debit side. Debit balance according to bank statement, 8,770 Rand. Credit outstanding deposits. Information 4J states a deposit of 17,000 Rand on 28 May 2025 and a deposit of 9,400 Rand on 30 May 2025 appears in the cash receipts journal but not on the bank statement. So it will be credit outstanding deposits, 17,000 and 9,400. Information 4K, the following EFTs are loaded and appear in the cash payments journal but not yet on the bank statement. EFT 920 for 3,200 Rand and EFT 921 for 4,500. So that will be debit outstanding EFTs, and remember it's always in chronological order. Then credit wrong debit order. Information 4I, a debit order of 4,700 Rand for rent appears incorrectly on the bank statement of Sophia Stores. It is not related to the store at all, and the bank will correct the error. So we will take it to our bank reconciliation statement as credit wrong debit order, and the amount is 4,700 Rand on the credit side. Then credit deposit wrongly debited. 4L states a deposit of 5,400 Rand on 13 May 2025 appears incorrectly on the bank statement as a debit of 4,500 Rand. So we need to correct that error. So credit debit wrongly debited. We're going to say 5,400 plus 4,500, and that gives us an amount of 9,900 Rand on the credit side. Credit wrong EFT 123. If we go to 4M, the bank debited an unusual EFT 123 for 1,400 Rand against the business's account. This EFT was drawn by SOP Stores and incorrectly debited against Sophia Stores account. So we're going to credit the entry to correct it. So credit wrong EFT 123 with 1,400 Rand. And then our debit balance according to our bank account, we calculate it as 25,930 Rand, which we'll enter. And then we are now going to see if our bank reconciliation balances. If we add up the debit side, we get a total of 42,400 Rand. And if we add up the credit side, we also get the same total of 42,400 Rand. Exercise 5.3. The following information relates to Randy Stores for July 2025. Required. 5.3.1. Complete the bank account for July 2025 by recording supplementary entries directly to it. Balance the bank account on 31 July 2025. 5.3.2. Draw up the bank reconciliation statement on 31 July 2025. You must calculate the balance on the bank statement as a balanced figure. Information A is then given as your previous bank reconciliation statement for 30 June 2025. B. The following preliminary totals appear in the subsidiary journals on 31 July 2025. Your cash receipts journal 132,000. Your cash payments journal 430,000. C. They give you the bank statement for July 2025, shows the following entries which did not appear in the cash journals for July, so we'll enter it in our cash journals. Then we will read bullets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accordingly when we complete the question. E. The following entries appeared in the cash journals for July 2025 but did not appear on the bank statement for July 2025. We will then enter these entries in the bank reconciliation statement. 5.3.1. Complete the bank accounts for July 2025 by recording the supplementary entries directly to it. Balance the bank accounts on 31 July 2025. So obviously we're going to start with the preliminary totals given. Our balance brought forward was 35,000 Rand. We got that. So if you go back to information A, they give us the bank reconciliation statement for 30 June 2025. So we have a favorable bank balance according to the bank statement of 17,000, so we start with that. Then we have two outstanding deposits of 120,000 and 56,000, which we add. And then we've got two outstanding EFTs, which would go on the debit side, which we're going to minus 75,000 and 83,000. So then it means our balance according to our bank account to balance the bank recon statement is then 35,000 Rand on the debit side. So that is how we got the balance brought down of 35,000 Rand. Then we're going to enter our provisional totals. For our cash receipts journal, it was given as 132,000 Rand, and for our cash payments journal, it was given as 431,000 Rand. Now we are going to read information C to complete the bank account. So for information C, the bank statement for July 2025 shows the following entries which do not appear in the cash journals for July 2025. The deposit of 56,000 Rand appeared correctly on the bank statement as 65,000 Rand. This deposit relates to cash sales and must be recorded in the business's books. So we need to determine the difference. What is 65,000 minus 56,000? That gives you 9,000 Rand, and that will then go to your cash receipts journal because it must still be recorded. The debit order for rent was incorrectly deducted twice by the bank. The bank will correct the error on the following month's bank statements. So in our cash payments journal, we will have rent expense of 16,000, and the mistake will be corrected of the double entry in our bank reconciliation statement when we completed just now. An investigation found that the deposit of 120,000 Rand dated 1 April 2025 was never deposited in the bank. It was decided to immediately write off this amount. So in our cash payments journal, we are going to create a loss of deposit of 120,000 Rand. And this is obviously a huge disadvantage for the business. The direct deposit of 8,500 Rand was made by a debtor as payment for his account of 9,600 Rand. So that we will enter into the cash receipts journal. So we will write debtors control 8,500 Rand. So remember, we only write down the actual amount received by the debtor, which was 8,500, and not what he still owes, which is 9,600 Rand. He will probably pay the difference at a later stage. Interest on current accounts has also not been recorded in the cash receipts journal, so we will enter that. Interest on current accounts, 350 Rand, given in information C. And then our bank charges of 780 Rand has also not been recorded in the cash payments journal, so we will enter that. And our debit order for property tax is also not entered into the cash payments journal, so we will enter that entry. Rates and taxes, 13,000. If we then add up the credit side of our bank accounts, we get 580,780. We make it equal to our debit side, so our balance carried over is 395,930 Rand, and that will be our opening balance on the credit side for August the 1st, 395,930 Rand, and we will use this amount in our bank reconciliation statement. 5.3.2, draw up the bank reconciliation statement on 31 July 2025. You must calculate the balance of the bank statement as the balancing figure. So again, remember, familiarize yourself with your format. You'll have your balance according to your bank statement, any outstanding deposits that you're going to credit, any outstanding EFTs that you need to debit, and then any errors, maybe a debit incorrect credit or a credit incorrect debit, and then your balance according to the bank account. So the balance according to our bank statement is going to be our balancing figure. If we go to adjustment E, a deposit of 36,000 Rand dated 31 July 2025 did not appear on the bank statement, so our credit outstanding deposit will be 36,000 Rand. EFT 933 for 13,000 Rand for repairs has also not appeared on the bank statement. So our debit outstanding EFTs will be number 933, 13,000 Rand on the debit side. Then according to information C, the amount of EFT 870 is correct according to the business's cash payments journal. The bank will correct the error on the bank statement. So we need to go and correct the error. So it's going to be debit wrong EFT 870. To correct the error, we're going to say 75,000 minus 57,000, because the amount in the bank statement was 75,000, but in the cash payments journal is 57,000, and the 57,000 from our cash payments journal is correct. So the difference of 18,000 needs to be debited. The debit order for the rent was incorrectly deducted twice by the bank. The bank will correct the error of the following month's bank statements. So credit wrong debit order. On the credit side, we will write down 16,000 Rand, which the bank will correct in the following month. And then according to our bank accounts, we had a credit balance according to the bank accounts of 395,930 Rand. So then if we add up the credit side, we get an amount of 447,930. We know it needs to equal the debit side, so we make the debit side 447,930. If we minus the 18,000 and the 13,000, we then get a balancing figure of 416,930 Rand. That is then a debit balance according to the bank statement.